Today I'm going to show you how to animate hand-drawn scribbles in vanilla After Effects. No plugins. Hey guys, Sean Anderson here. Animating hand-drawn scribbles is a technique I've used in a lot of different projects. It can be used just to add a few accents to something, spice it up a little bit. It can be used to make a logo or some text look cool, and it can also be used in a really dense way where you're just adding scribbles every frame and really making it pop. So there's a lot of different skills you can use to achieve this look. Today I'm going to show you how to do it in vanilla After Effects, which, just to tell you up front, is a time-consuming process. It requires that you draw every frame. But at the end, I'm also going to show you a couple alternative options you can do to achieve these results a lot quicker. All right, hope you're ready. Let's dive right in. All right, as you see here, we have a Wacom. This is from, I don't know, like 5 years ago. Look at the dust it's covered in. Here we have our After Effects project. We're working in 24 frames a second at 1080. This first clip I got here is an electric guitar. I'm going to drag it down here, make a new comp, and I'm going to go to Window, Paint. Now I got this little paint tool here, and I'm going to go up here and let's start a brush. Let's double click our layer. When you double click, you'll have the layer open up in this window. Now we have this little crosshair doohickey. Now we want to get our settings correct on the side here. The main thing to set up correctly is your duration. You can do constant, and that means when we draw on here, it's going to make the layer go across the entire frame. To see what's going on, we're going to undo this little toggle here, go through paint, and see we've created a brush. And in here, it's made this long layer. Every time we draw, when this sub layer is selected, it's going to redraw that line. To make a new line, let's just select paint. And now we got a new one, and we can just keep drawing more and more lines. But again, they're all set for constant. So I'm gonna use Shift and select all these and delete them. Now I'm gonna go back up here. I'm gonna set my duration to custom. You can do single frame, but we're just gonna do custom here, which is essentially the same thing. We're gonna set for 1 frame. And you can adjust this to as many frames as you want. Now when you have this selected and I draw, you see it gives you just a single frame like that. You can see the path when you zoom in, and when you toggle down the brush, you have some stroke options. We're not gonna play with this too much today, but I just wanna show you what's going on. We have the end part here, and we can animate with keyframes the start and end and do some creative things there. So it's pretty flexible overall. Here under brushes is the size of your brush. It's good to get this set before you start creating brushes. You can definitely change them within here, but once you have a whole bunch of these brush strokes, it's going to become a real pain in the butt to do that. So right now I'm set with a diameter of 7 pixels, 100% roundness, 100% hardness. Works for me. Delete. So what I want to focus on in this clip is some things I can outline with a brush. I see his strings and his fingers. My experience is good to not think too hard about it, just play around and experiment and see what works, because you don't really know till you try. One suggestion when you're using this technique is to draw your strokes slowly. You'll see as I go fast, it starts to get a little jagged. But if you draw slowly, you get some really nice smooth lines. And don't judge how I'm holding my pen. My teachers used to judge me a lot over that, and I didn't like it. Frame 1, we want to start from something small and then gradually increase it. So let's see, I'm going to do right when he hits it with the pick, let's make a little shockwave. So do a stroke like this. You'll see right now I have pen pressure set on. So the harder I press, the thicker it is. The lighter I press, it gets thinner. I don't like that. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to size off. So now it's just a consistent thick line. I'm gonna use page up, page down to go to the next frame. So page down. Now there's no onion skinning in After Effects. Basically, onion skinning allows you to see the next frame so you can just kind of measure how it's looking as you go across. But as long as you're using the page up and page down key, you can toggle pretty fast. You'll just have to use your memory. Now I want to keep track of what strings I'm actually drawing here. So I start with these top 3. So now we'll go to the next frame. This one's gonna be longer, 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 and we're going to start ones down here. Now even longer. I wouldn't get too perfect with this either. Imperfections is what kind of gives it the signature look that we're going for. Okay, cool. Now, let's say we wanted to change the properties of all these strokes. To do this, you'll want to select all the strokes at once by first clicking the top one, holding Shift, then selecting the bottom one. Then untwirl just one of the brush layers, and you can change something like the width by increasing or decreasing the diameter, or you could change the colors. Okay, now I'm going to add another set of strokes to emphasize the impact of each guitar strum. Okay, now let's explore how we can use this tracing technique to help us make a Scribble animated title. Gonna make a new comp. Now to start off, we're gonna make our title just raw here in After Effects. So I'm gonna go do something like that. Make sure this is aligned. Now I wanna do a circle around it. So I've got some copy here I've already made. Let's see, shrink it down. I want it to be all caps, boom. Now I want this to be in a circle, so I'm going to add a mask, text, path options, mask 1, little tutorial within a tutorial for you. We'll expand it. Now we're going to select all these layers, Shift Command C, and we're going to move all attributes, pre-comp that sucker. Now we're going to right click, open layer. Now that opens up here in our window. And let's set our frame rate to half so that we're working on 2s. It'll be a lot less work in the end, and ultimately will look better and have that more cartoony feel. So let's start with SKA. So now we just need to think like an animator. We want to transition this on and then transition it off. Once we finish drawing it on, what we're looking for is just to do enough frames so that we can loop it and we can have kind of like this moving static letter. To me, this looks like more than enough frames, so I'm going to stop there and move on to the next letters. Okay, now I'm satisfied with the SKA, so I'm going to duplicate this layer. Let's go back to our composition window. I'm going to turn that one off. I'm going to hit enter and change it to SKA. We're going to paint and we're going to turn paint on transparent. So that's built and ready to play with. Now we're going to do our circle layer. I'm going to delete that paint layer. I'm going to turn this one off. Now, same thing, I'm going to go around this layer and I'm going to trace it, have it animate on, and then add enough lines throughout so I can loop it. Then I'll add frames of the line stretching out and blowing up for the final outro of the animation. Once you're satisfied with that, it's time to cut up your animation and time it out, looping the segments of repeated sketches to repeat for as long as you're needing. I'm taking these ring title layers and attaching them to a null and adding some rotation keyframes to it, then lining up the outro at the end. And there it is. Now here's the second method, which is far less time consuming. Essentially, you need a touchscreen device that can screen record, like an iPhone or an iPad. Create a black backdrop to draw on. Here, I'm covering the camera and taking a photo, then cranking down the exposure just to get it even blacker. Next, use a drawing app. Here, I'm just using the default photo app pen tool in edit mode. Set the pen color to white. Start your screen record, and then start designing the shapes you need for your footage. When you're done, stop the record and send it to your computer. Next, you're going to take that file, bring it into your After Effects comp. Let's mask out the black area. Set the ins and outs for the animation you have. Now if you go to screen mode, you've got yourself an animated little scribble. You can lock the mask here so you don't accidentally grab it. You can time remap that, make it faster. I'm gonna make it hold so that we can stay on this last part for a while longer. Then to make it feel more hand-drawn, we can go to Distort, Turbulent Displacement. We can go down here to Evolution, hit Option, click, Time, Star. Let's try 5,000. Makes it a little warpy, a little too warpy, so just decrease the amount, keep it a bit subtle, nice and wiggly there. Now let's add a posterized time effect. Set it to 12 or less. Let's bring that down to like 7. Let's duplicate this and now apply this to all the other animations you sketched. Using Mocha, I tracked the background, pasted the transform properties to a null, and then attached all the scribble layers to that null. You know, it's not perfect, but it's a quick and easy way to customize something that you want. So this is also a look that you can achieve with drag and drop assets. On my website, I have an asset pack called Scribble Accents. These are drag and drop items you can place in your timeline really quick to achieve similar results. And feel free to try it out first by downloading the free sample. Link is on the top of my website. In the next tutorial, I'm going to show how to use this drag and drop asset pack to achieve this look yourself. If you purchase now, you'll be grandfathered into the package, which is going to expand over the course of the next few months. I'm going to add more drag and drop items, and eventually the price will increase. But if you purchase now, you'll get these extra items later on down the line for no additional cost. It's kind of like free DLC for a video game. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.